practice slow. When you think you're practicing slow, practice slower. Use a metronome not only to build speed, but to hold yourself accountable to playing slow. Track your practice time so you can be honest with yourself about how much or little time is being spent and where. Focus on the quality of your practice over the quantity. Record yourself. It's great for analyzing technique and musicality and helps you get ready for that performance mindset. Stop comparing yourself to others. Compete with yourself. That being said, it can be extremely beneficial to surround yourself with other musicians and guitarists who inspire you to push yourself, as long as you keep a healthy mindset about comparison. It's better to practice a little bit every day rather than a lot for a couple days. If you're struggling to practice every day, remove quantity from the equation. Your goal is to just pick up the guitar and play every day, even if it's just for 1 minute. That takes the pressure off on days when you're not feeling it, and once you actually pick up the guitar and start playing, you'll probably play for longer than you expected anyway. Treat mistakes with gravity in practice and grace in performance. We should practice in a way that avoids mistakes at all costs by practicing extremely slowly, for example. But in performance, train your mind to not dread future hypothetical mistakes and to forget and let go of past mistakes. And don't roll every chord, just don't. Be selective, roll chords that you want to draw extra attention to. Use the weight and pull of your arm to fret notes rather than squeezing with your hand. Make sure your right hand plucking motion is coming primarily from your main knuckle rather than your mid finger joint. And give yourself permission to take little guilt-free breaks from guitar. This prevents burnout, and you'll feel refreshed and excited to play again when you come back to it. Go out of your way to support and encourage other guitarists. We get so caught up in our own victories and failures that we often forget that others could probably use some encouragement too. If you use fingernails on your plucking hand, make sure to round out all the corners and rough edges with a file and shape them into a ramp. The string makes contact at the shortest point, slides across the nail, and ramps off at the longest point. If you're feeling tension while playing, practice your pieces intentionally buzzing or muting every single note. This makes you more aware of the minimum amount of pressure you need to make a note ring out clearly, which is often less than what we typically are applying. Memorize your pieces as quickly as possible. This allows you to focus on your technique and to watch your hands and to minimize mistakes in those crucial early stages of learning a new piece. If you focus on memorizing intentionally, it'll happen a lot more quickly than if you just wait for muscle memory to kick in. That being said, always be sure to refer back to the music periodically after the piece is memorized to ensure that you aren't subconsciously changing anything over time. Learn the fretboard. Guitarists are really bad at this, and we should be ashamed. This is our instrument, and we need to know it frontwards and backwards. Memorizing the notes of the fretboard improves your ability to arrange, compose, improvise, and learn new pieces of music more quickly. Plus, you can just go to beyondtheguitar.com and take my free training, Fretboard Freedom, to get started. To achieve any guitar-related goal, set deadlines and tell people about them to keep you accountable. So you want to learn a new song, sign up for an open mic night a month out and invite your friends. You want to record an album, give yourself a few months and commit to posting weekly updates on social media to document your progress. Learn how to read standard notation. Once you can read it really well, you can sight read music you've never heard before and play it the way it's supposed to sound. Tabs rely on you already knowing the rhythm, so just spend 5 minutes a day reading some simple melodies and standard notation to get started. Use a timer when you practice. This keeps you focused and on task and ensures that you don't spend too much time on one thing and miss out on other important parts of your practice because you ran out of time. Wear long sleeves or cut the foot off of a long sock to make an arm sleeve to let your right arm slide freely back and forth across the guitar. You can play around with different tones based on where you're plucking the strings. Practice in front of a mirror or your phone's camera to watch your technique and to make sure you're not making any super weird involuntary faces while you're playing. A little guitar face to add some personality to your performance is fine, but nobody wants to look like a fish out of water. Look up and practice finger independence drills. Finger independence is a super important element of technique practice that many guitarists neglect. I recommend playing in the classical position with an elevated neck, but use a guitar support like a A-frame or a cushion rather than a footstool for the majority of your practice. Your spine will thank me in 10 years.
Speaking of technique, the techniques you should be hitting most frequently in your practice are arpeggios, slurs, finger independence, and scales. I highly recommend the technique book Pumping Nylon by Scott Tennant to train all of these areas. That being said, in most cases I prefer to find real musical examples to train specific techniques rather than drills. My end goal is to be able to play beautiful music, not exercises. So if I can target the same technique from an exercise in a piece of real music instead, I'm gonna do that. Make sure to lift your fingers off of the strings before shifting to avoid nasty string squeaks, and stop asking how long until I can play X, Y, or Z. Mastering the guitar is a lifelong pursuit. Stop always looking ahead, enjoy the present, enjoy the journey. Finish things. Finish learning that song, finish that arrangement, finish that composition. There's a special feeling that comes from finishing work that you've started that is so rewarding, and it's really discouraging to look back on this huge backlog of half-finished songs. Remember, done is better than perfect. Speed bursts are a great way to build speed. Loop a small section playing it at a super slow tempo 3 times, then on the 4th time, double the tempo. This eases your fingers into playing faster because they're more capable of playing faster speeds in short bursts. As you get better at the section, you can increase the speed and duration of the speed burst gradually. Invest in yourself by investing in your guitar education. We upgrade our gear, we upgrade our phones and get new toys, but we're so hesitant to spend money on upgrading ourselves. Don't always go the free route. Invest in a good guitar teacher, an online course, or at the very least, a good method book like Frederick Node's Solo Guitar Playing. You'll see a huge difference when you have a clear, proven path laid out in front of you for progress rather than just bouncing from one free resource to another. To really test your memory on a piece without your guitar, close your eyes and see if you can visualize playing through the entire piece. I practice this leading up to concerts because I know if I can do this, my memory is rock solid. 501, 502, 503. If you want to break bad habits in your playing, take a break from playing pieces that you've been playing with those bad habits. The muscle memory there is too strong and will work against you. Get a fresh start on a new piece and implement the habit changes there. Play for people. If you keep waiting until you're ready, you'll never be ready. Music is meant to be shared, and you never know how your music could impact somebody else in a positive way, imperfections, mistakes, and all. Don't worry about what guitar or gear you should upgrade to next. A great player can make a crappy guitar sound good, so focus on your craft and only upgrade when your skill has outgrown your equipment. Yes, you should grow your fingernails out, and no, I won't cut mine. If there's a harder and easier way to play the same thing, don't feel like you're cheating by going the easier route. It's okay. Be intentional and consistent about your left and right hand fingerings. Don't use random fingerings, playing the same passage differently every time. Consistency builds muscle memory. Incorporate the 5 times challenge. Challenge yourself to play small sections of music 5 times in a row perfectly. Make the slightest mistake at all, and you have to start over. This will help clean up a section because of the sheer amount of repetitions, and it simulates performance anxiety and gets you used to performing under pressure because you'll start to get a little nervous on those 4th and 5th repetitions, since you know anything short of perfection means you have to start all over again. To develop a really quick and efficient right hand, especially for scales and tremolo, spend some time practicing right hand planting, meaning after you play one note, you immediately prepare your next finger by planting it on the string. This creates a really short, disconnected staccato sound, but trains your fingers to stay close and to get on the strings quickly. Pay attention to your breathing. Because breathing doesn't have anything to do directly with the mechanics of guitar playing, we often end up subconsciously holding our breath or taking short, sporadic breaths. This just lends itself to more tension, and you're basically depriving your brain of oxygen, which is never a good thing. It's more important to play beautifully than to play fast. All notes are not created equal. Focus on playing melody notes louder than bass and accompaniment notes. Don't be an elitist. Respect other genres and styles of guitar playing, and don't belittle others for enjoying them. Also, don't be that guy in the guitar store who cranks his amp up to 11. Nobody's impressed. Patience and consistency. Focus on those and you will get better at guitar. Everything else is secondary.